Well, I have shown this before, but I thought you might like to see it again. We're going to clean up the cap, and for that I'm using this is a brass wire wheel. Now in the camera I've noticed it shows up, it appears to be like steel, but it's not. This is brass, and I've always found that as I tend to clean up softer metals, the brass is just a bit gentler than steel. So yeah, but it does a really good job. So there you go. Quite a bit more of that to do. I've got to do this and the cap, and then of course I've got to work out a way of cleaning up the actual tank, but that's the kind of effect you get with it. So I've been over this with various wire brushes, and as you can see, that's come up a real treat. Cleaned up really nicely, and it's absolutely ready for painting. Just needs a wipe over with some acetone to clean the final grease off. It's actually very mild here in the UK today. I think it's about 10 degrees outside. Where are we? 15th of January. So a big freeze has kind of finished for a while, which is great. So I should be able to get that painted today. One thing I did notice when I was cleaning up the plunger rod, that this leather cup seal has unfortunately got a split in it. Right there. You can see that. There we go. Fortunately, you can get replacement leather cup washers, so I've got one on order. They're very, very cheap. So I've got one of those on order, so hopefully that will sort that out. So the next thing is to move on. Oh, I've cleaned up the wire rods that hold the plate. They've all been wire brushed and got the rust off of those. Once I've cleaned up the tank here, I will mask that off, and then again paint those, probably with high temperature engine paint. So that's it. So the next stage, once the painting is done, is really to get on and clean up the tank. So I've decided to try the buffing wheel first to see whether we can take the tarnish off with that. This is the least abrasive thing I've got, and if that will work, then we don't need to go anything more extreme. Well, that appears to be working, which is great. If that'll take the tarnish off, then it's going to take me a while with this, but yeah, that's doing the job. Excellent. Well, I've just spent about an hour on it with the buffing wheel, which has yielded some quite nice results. It's looking pretty good. I've still got a few spots where I couldn't quite get in with the wheel, like just around the base of the domed part. I need to work on that manually, but it's certainly looking a hell of a lot better now than it was before. So yeah, the buffing wheel certainly did its job, and we'll stop it and have a look underneath. We'll zoom in on the on the base. I don't know where you can see that, but that mark there, Y over 13. The Y is the date code, which places this, according to my research, manufacturing date 1934. So it's quite an old little stove. Well, the cleaning and the painting is all finished on the little Primus stove, and it's turned out okay. I'm quite pleased with it. There are a few little places where I couldn't quite get to get the tarnish off completely, but it's not too bad at all. I've painted the uprights. That's a nice black satin finish enamel on the uprights, which should protect them. The plate has been given a coat of the high temperature engine paint, and it's also been baked in the oven, so that should be fine. All the other parts have been cleaned up, and all we're really waiting for now is a replacement leather cup washer that goes on the end of the pump, and we can hopefully put it back together and see if the thing actually works. So yeah, so that'll be the next stage. The work on the Primus stove is finished, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. It was quite a lot of work, but I think it was well worth it. The new leather cup seal for the pump arrived this morning, and I soaked that in some oil and then fitted that, and the pump is now considerably harder to move in and out than it was when I first got this, when it would just fall out if you tipped it up. It was that loose. So I'm hoping that we can get some pressure with that now. So basically all that's left to do is to see if it actually works. So I'll put some paraffin in it, I'll put some meths in the little spirit cup here, and we'll give it a go. Now, according to what I've read, you fill this to about 2/3 full, which I've done with paraffin. You leave the bleed tap open, you fill up the cup there with meths, and then you light the meths. Which of course you can't see, even though there is actually a light. I'm going to leave the plate off at the moment because, you know, it's easier to see this, what's going on without that. So yeah, there's some heat coming off of that, definitely. And basically you let the paraffin burn down. This is going to heat the burner up and help with the vaporizing. So you let that burn off, and when this is almost gone, you give it a couple of pumps. Obviously you close the valve, and hopefully that should ignite the paraffin. At least that's the theory. So we'll see. I think I've let it burn out actually. I think the meth has gone out, but we'll see if it's actually going to do anything. Of course, it helps if you close the relief valve. Good trick, that one. Well, there's definitely vapour coming off of it. Yeah, there we go. I don't think that's what it's supposed to do. It's not supposed to be burning under there. So. But it's definitely working. I was just not sure about this flame under there. Well, it did work, sort of, but you definitely shouldn't have flame coming out here. So I've let it cool down, and when I went to check this was loose. Now I tightened this up with a spanner, and I've done it again, but this had actually come loose. So obviously this should be tight because it seals the whole thing. So I'll put some more meths in, and we'll try it again. Right, round two. Yeah, even I can't see that, you know, unless you look really, really close. You can't see it. But after it's been on for a bit, you can see that the meth starts to shimmer and bubble, which is obviously because it's getting hot. So now I won't leave it quite as long because I let it burn out. I let the meth burn out last time, so I'll come back in a minute. Right, it's been a minute or so. So I've closed that. We'll give this a pump. Right, we're starting to get something. Let's give it another pump. Oh yes, that's better. Quite a bit of heat coming off of that now. Change the angle a bit. Again, that's burning very cleanly, which is what I'd hoped it would do. And that was that's just like 2 pumps. The trouble is you can't really see it, can you? Let's turn the lights off. There we go. And of course this is starting to get red hot now. So, yeah, it's working, amazing. Let me change the camera angle. Now I'll pump it a bit. That was just 1 pump. You see the difference that made? Well, I have to say that that's definitely a success. That is working. Now, let me come back out. We'll turn the lights back on so that the camera can actually see stuff. Now, there's a lot of heat coming off of that. A lot of heat. So, to regulate that, if I undo this, it should bleed some of the pressure off and the flame should reduce. So, turn these off again. You can actually see what's going on. There we go. It's quite controllable. I said I've never played with one of these before, so I'm all new to this game. But amazing. And if I open this up completely, it should go out. So let's close in on the burner. Right, opening the valve. There we go. Off immediately. Bloody amazing. It really is. I'm well impressed with this, as you can probably tell. I'm going to close that, give it 1 pump. And off it goes. Oh, brilliant, brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So, 1934, what's that, 91 years old this stove is? Let's put our top bit on. Ooh. This actually sits better in one particular position. That one, there we go. Like I said, with the lights on, you just really can't see this. Let's invigorate it a bit. There we go. I'm well impressed. This is a lovely bit of kit. And I thought you had to pump these things a lot, but obviously you don't. You know, 2 pumps and you're getting that lot of heat. There's a lot of heat coming out of that. Let's try it with all the lights off. Or at least we'll put the overhead light off as well. Let's give it another pump. Yeah, it works a treat. Turn the video lights on and watch the flame disappear. Well, almost. You can still see it. Well, there you go. The successful restore. The little 1934 Primus stove. Now, I'm well pleased with this, and I will actually use this. And you know, I preheat the water for my steam engines, and this will be ideal for that. Saves using the kettle, which uses horrendous amounts of electricity. So, yeah. Superb. Let's turn it off. An amazing control over it as well. It's just brilliant. It just works superbly. Okay, I think that's about it. Wraps it up. So yeah, 1934 Swedish Primus stove, which was all rusty and all tarnished and horrible. And the only new parts it's had are the leather cup seal, which goes in the pump, and there was I put a new washer on there where the burner clamps down onto the feed tube. That was it. Everything else is just as it was. Oh yes, and I didn't have a flame spreader, so that is that's obviously new. But I'm well impressed with that. And if I actually have it in use doing something, I'll do another quick little video so you can actually see it being used for something. But I think that'll about wrap it up for now. As always, hope you've enjoyed the videos or video. Not sure whether this is going to be one or two. And thanks very much for watching. Cheers.